Hello! Big news from our friends over at Distrokid. They now have an app. This app works on iOS and Android, of course, and it's available in the Apple Store and Google Play stores and all the stores where you buy apps. Go check it out. It's got a lot of cool features. You can upload new releases, you can get notified when you've earned royalties, awesome. You can withdraw from the app via push notifications, a little dangerous for me, but rad. Anyways, go check it out. It's all at distrokid.com/app. And don't forget, you can still get 30% off your Distrokid account by going to distrokid.com/VIP/tour stories. Have a great one. We would like to celebrate our friends and supporters over at Izotope.com, fine makers of audio software for repair, mixing, and mastering. You know their goods: RX10, Neutron 4, Ozone 11, Nectar 4. Chris and I love them, we use them, and we know you'll love them too. And right now they're having a New Year's sale on many of their software bundles. Go to izotope.com and check it all out. And use code RUIN10 when you check out to get your discount. Again, it's izotope.com. And enjoy. Hello, Tour Story listeners. Thank you for your continued support, and welcome to Season 4. I'd like to take a second to thank our friends and sponsors over at Izotope. Here at Ruinous, Chris and I rely heavily on easy-to-use tools like RX and Ozone for all of our audio repair, mixing, and mastering. Now, Tour Story listeners can get 10% off Izotope plugins or try Music Production Suite Pro for free for 30 days using code FRET10. That's FRET10. To get your discount and check out all of their easy-to-use products, go to izotope.com/ruinous. That's izotope.com/ruinous and use code FRET10. And thank you for listening.
Hello?
Hi.
John? Joe Plumber.
Just
Joe Plumber? Joe Plumber.
Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
How about
Third time in a row.
Yeah.
What day of the week is it?
It's Friday.
That's right. And as I told you, my Fridays are like other people's Mondays. It might be a great day for you, Joe, but if you remember correctly, I prefer Mondays. Like, that's not going to work for me.
I think yesterday you texted me and said to call you tomorrow.
Joe.
Yeah.
No.
You sure?
Joe, man. I'm
the
opposite of Bob Geldof. I like Mondays.
Okay. All right. Well, good. What time Monday?
Yeah, our Monday. The Monday is my Friday. That's what I meant. Monday is in Monday.
Okay. I'll call you on Monday at 9 a.m.
Sure.
John Schmersal has been the guitarist and keyboardist for bands Brainiac, Enon, and most recently Caribou. In this episode, John tells us how the sleepless fog of tour can lead to an impromptu outfit tailoring and how playing a pantsless show may cure that fearful dream of being naked in public. From Ruinous Media, this is Tour Stories.
So, you know how, like, a lot of people have those, like, anxiety dreams where, you know, they're in school taking a test or they're arriving at school for an exam or something else important and suddenly they realize that they're naked. So I've had this happen where it's, you know, like unpreparation. And basically, this is what happened to me. So Caribou, when we play, we wear all white pants and white shirts. And it's for, one, for uniformity, and two, so our light show basically can broadcast over us and be fluid. So anyway, we're on tour, and it's festival season. It's the what was the old Isle of Wight festival became festival. We take a ferry to it, and I arrived to discover my friend Kate Laban was playing the festival, and I hadn't seen her or any of her bandmates in a while. So everyone, it's, you know, since it's on an island, and it was one of the situations where we coming, from some other sleepless thing. Everybody was pretty excited we dropped off our stuff and backlined and did a sound check or whatever. And then everyone else was heading back to the hotel to get some R&R. And I decided, it was the one chance basically, because since it's on an island, it's, where the accommodations were situated. It was kind of like I would either have to go do that or just stay. And I really wanted to hang out with people. So, when we were done, I ran over to the van, reached into my big bag to pull out some necessities to put into my small bag, my carry-on bag. So I reached in to grab my goods and went about my day, hanging out, had a lovely time hanging out. And Festival is one of those festivals where people dress up in outfits and stuff, and people get super wasted and dance and do things they do at festivals. So, and we weren't going on until very late. So many, many, many hours had passed, and I probably could have benefited from a little bit of sleep, but, hanging out sometimes gives you more energy than sleep does, or at least that's what you tell yourself. So this always happens, and like it happens in the dream, it's time. It's showtime. And so it's time to get the clothes on. I think it's like 2 a.m, and which is a popular slot for a dance-oriented band like us. It's a costume party. There's people in like rando things. There's a lot of dandy-looking people, or people trying to look dandy, or people just trying to disguise themselves, masks and things. There's all sorts of people, and people dressed normally, Anyway, we're in the little green room, and all of a sudden, time to get the whites on and get ready to play the show. So I reach into my bag and pull out not a pair of pants and a button-down white shirt, but 2 button-down white shirts. So this is what I have from the show. So I did what any practical touring musician would do in that moment. I turned the other button-down shirt into a pair of capri pants, basically, maybe. And so I stuck my legs through the arms, I buttoned up the shirt, and then Dan's wife, Natasha, found some, safety pins, and we just kind of, pinned the rest of it, underneath my legs. So it looked weird, but considering it was a festival with costumes and people were kind of, out of their mind on alcohol and possibly drugs and stuff. So I was just like, you know what? I think this is going to be fine. I can do this. I can wear a shirt as pants. I kind of looked a little bit like Clockwork Orange style, It wasn't a, a bulbous jockstrap, but it was just kind of strange and amorphous looking down there. And I guess the moral of this story is that when you go to take the test and you realize you're naked, I think the best thing to do is just shrug your shoulders and just take the test naked. Because I don't think people don't notice. Once you say that in your dream, I feel like the bets are off. People aren't really noticing these things. Because I don't think, besides backstage, I don't think there wasn't a single comment for anybody that what I was doing or wearing, or even that anyone noticed that it was not pants.
You've had this dream.
Mm-hmm.
Have they happened since?
No, I think I've totally cleaned the slate.
Nice.
So, side 2 to this story, and this definitely even more so reinforces my nobody cares. Nobody's really paying attention anymore, and nobody really cares part of this. So, in 2012, Caribou went on tour in support of Radiohead on their Hail the Thief tour. So tour went well. I think it's the last show of the whole tour. And we were discussing the flights out the next day. Really just boring, mundane type tour stuff. I'm talking to our sound engineer, Christos, and we were sort of bickering about like the leave times. Basically, we had a tiny misunderstanding, but he was doing that like, I'll bet you basically that you're wrong about this. And I'm like, oh yeah, up in the ante. And he's like, all right, what do you want to bet? And he's like, all right, if I lose, I'll mix the show with no pants. And if you lose the bet, you play the show with no pants. I'm like, okay, you're right. So
what does no pants mean? Does that mean no underwear?
No, it didn't. Unfortunately, that would have really made the bet.
This wasn't a Chili Peppers.
No.
Nick Oliveri thing.
We were in France, and if it could go down anywhere, it probably could go down like that in France. But I don't think he was trying to create a situation where I would also had to go to jail afterwards. I mean, I was in Cincinnati on Lollapalooza when David Yao, the Jesus Lizard, exposed himself and was taken to jail promptly off stage. I'm not trying to repeat anything like this. It was a fairly civilized bet. I mean, I certainly had more risk than Christos did in this bet. I don't even remember what I misunderstood about the terms of the bet, but the bottom line was that what I thought we were betting about and what he thought we were betting about were two different things. And in the outcome, I was the loser. And even though I misunderstood the terms, it didn't matter. I knew, like, everyone in the band was there when we were making this bet. And so, in the tradition of, like, any boys club situation, I knew that if I didn't hold true to the bet, that they would never let me live it. I would never hear the end of this, right? So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to do it. You win fair and square. And everybody was very, very, very excited about this. But I just did it, basically, right before we go on stage. Took off the pants in boxers. I wear boxers. I think this is a very good reason to think about wearing boxers when if you lose a bet such as this, it's better to have on boxers than like, the banana hammock or whatever. So I'm on stage playing. I'm looking out. I see people taking pictures here and there, but not in like a self-conscious way. I'm just sort of like, yeah, that's what people do when you're on stage. They occasionally take pictures and stuff. But the guys were scouring the internet in the weeks afterwards to see if there was any evidence out there in the world of me playing without my pants on. And there were none. In fact, the Radiohead guys as well. They would watch our show. And I don't think no one asked me why I wasn't wearing pants or anything like that. Like, literally nobody noticed. I challenge anyone out there. If anyone was at that show or has any evidence to give to the contrary, at this point, it would amuse me to see if there was any evidence out there. Because, you play in front of 15 to 20,000 people, you would figure somebody might notice something like that.
Why don't people notice people aren't wearing pants anymore? Can you walk down your street and people won't notice?
This is a good point, I guess. Like the mores of things. Did Lady Gaga ruin this stuff by coming out in the meat dress? Like, or is it just no holds barred now?
I don't know. I think so. People have seen it all. The kids have seen it all.
I mean, it's kind of cool. It's either they've seen it all or they just aren't really looking. That's kind of what I'm feeling about this.
Right. What are they looking at? I have a guess.
I think they're looking for a good thing to take a picture of themselves in front of.
Yeah. I think I played in some shorts before and felt like I know I played in shorts when I was playing in hardcore bands, but I don't think I've played in shorts in my, indie rock should be wearing pants.
It's always been forbidden in my rule book.
Mine too.
Like even in the 90s, there was a bit of that. And when I was in Brainiac and stuff, we cared a bit more about what we wore on stage and so forth. But I always felt like shorts were just a bad proposition. Personally.
Yeah.
But understandable in the hardcore situation.
Right. I actually remember I played in shorts in Las Vegas.
Was that just because it was Las Vegas and you decided to?
We were about 100 feet from a pool.
Oh.
I wore my running shorts.
So this is my rule, actually. I don't like to even wear shorts, and I don't like to be seen in shorts, basically.
Okay.
On stage or off. But my rule is if you are adjacent to a body of water, then it's okay. So you might see me, like if we're on an island or something like that around, then it's okay to be in shorts. I definitely don't want to be photographed necessarily. I mean, that's how kind of snobby I am about this. But that's the rule. What I'm saying, Joe, is that I agree with you. You were okay to be wearing shorts in Las Vegas.
Thank you.
She took a bath and fell from the sky. Wanted to say hi or something, but you know there's always something but air. The waves that walk on the ocean, the wind that doesn't care.
So Joe, I mean, this isn't a pantsless story, but it is sort of the same in that it's about being like not prepared. There was another Caribou show we played in Amsterdam it must have been a fly-in thing because I normally have like a backup bass of some kind, but basically we're like, we only have a few more songs left, and I broke a bass string, which you know how pretty rare that is to happen, which is probably why I was thinking I would be okay without asking at a club show that we flew into for a backup bass. So string breaks. Meanwhile, our guitarist runs backstage to see if there's anything. And Mercury Rev were playing the next day, so their bus was parked behind the club. I think it was at the Paradiso. And so they were parked in back. He ran back there to see if they had a bass I could borrow. This was all in the span of like what seemed like hours to me on stage. It was just a couple minutes. He comes back with a left-handed bass. And so I'm sitting there trying to tune this thing upside down while both Dan and Ryan are talking to me. They're like, okay, so you can either try and do this with the left-handed bass, and I'm trying to tune it. And of course, I'm trying to tune the strings up, and it's opposite, so it's going down, and that's confusing me while I'm listening to them. Or we could like try and put like a bass sound up on Ryan's keyboard, and you could just play it on there. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that for the first time on the fly. So I'm just going to take my chances with the Jimi Hendrix, bass thing. It was survivable. I just kept it simple. Luckily, there were just 2 more songs, and one of them was pretty minimal, a lot more singing than notes played. But I haven't done this yet, but I'm left-handed. I learned to play right. It kind of made me want to get a left-handed bass, just so I would never have to. I mean, I was more scared to play a left-handed bass in front of like 1,000 people than I was to take my pants off in front of like 15,000 people. So I don't know what that says, but there was one other time that exact same thing. It's always the 11th hour. We're playing, there's a festival in Chicago that was outdoors, and the little trailers, they had like these little, mobile trailers that were the green rooms. We're very far away from the stage, and we're just basically waiting to go on stage, and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, 3, 2, 1, go, good show, guys. And we're going on stage, and I realize I don't have my in-ears, my battery pack. And the trailer is, a half mile away. And I'm like, oh, fudge. So we just walk out on the stage, and I'm like, we don't have monitors. We just have these things. So I start playing. I do have, my bass is an amp, but almost everything else pretty much is like coming through the house, including my voice. So I'm literally like listening to the sound of my voice bouncing off the buildings on the other side of the park we're playing on, coming back at me, and I'm like, like adjusting as I hear it coming back. It was challenging. I didn't tell anybody about this, and I survived. Luckily, the bleed, it wasn't like one of those super isolated stages where you just couldn't hear anything, but I was relying on a very delayed.
Thanks to John for the story, and thanks to you for listening. If you like Tour Stories, please subscribe, and don't forget about our companion episode, The Check-In, all at ruinousmedia.com/tour stories.
Calling to you from here to Japan, hoping a few of you understand. As the feelings on a river head for the drain, a conscious on a trigger left at the reins. You really get off on all things humans, you really get off on all mankind. It's really a scoff, you're sporting through this to really get off and on a dime. You see it happen without apprehension, truly because of the power of yawning, pulling the burden straight from the can. With the poster girl of Jane Citizen, now we're setting up a this'll I'll feed a zane, taking the epistle straight to the vein. And it's still all set, so I had to talk about that, dangling out the window to find you. You could agree you might ride the fence, and that might succinctly make no more sense, but could appear to be on your side, turning just the same, they go run and hide. Oh well, wherever we go, we're off to new things. Wherever we've been, they put us on. Wherever we go, it's often through things. Wherever we go, it's going gone. Has it been? It happened every single second. Till you wake up, we know where to find you. To Japan, pulling out the burden straight from the can. Sometimes the world can give you an itch, you try and scratch it up and find a new niche. Without apprehension, till we wake up, it's all red, white, and blue.